Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I'll be going over 5 players whose stock went up after the Washington Commanders Week 1 preseason win against the Cleveland Browns. If you guys are new, please hit that like button, subscribe, and that notification bell. It really helps out a ton. It takes 1 second, and I would really appreciate it. Also, check out BetUS. First link in the description, and join the Discord for some giveaways. And a huge shout out to BetUS for partnering with me for this video and this 2023 football season. BetUS is the leading online sports betting company. They're very reliable, they're very secure, and they've got great customer service. They have so many different sports to choose from. You got football, you got basketball, you got college football, hockey, soccer, any sport you can name, they've got it. They've got a great deal. If you use my link in the description, you can get 125% first time deposit match. So if you put in 100, you'd be getting $225, and it would really help me out. So go ahead and check out that deal. They've got live bets, they got futures, they've got parlays. So anything you want to do, you can go ahead and do it. And it's very, very easy to get started. You go to their site, which I have linked in the description. You hit that get started button, you put in all your information, and you are good to go. So check them out, link in the description. Okay, so let's get started. Yesterday's game was pretty good for most of the Commanders players. There were some that didn't do well, but for the most part, it was a good performance by the Commanders. They won 17-15. And today's video, we're going to be doing 5 players that shined, or 5 guys that their stock went up. There's definitely more, and I'm going to get into honorable mentions, but I'm going to go over the 5 that I thought shined the most, or their stock went up the most. First guy, this one I thought was kind of obvious. Some people didn't think he played amazing, but I don't think anyone thought he played poorly. Sam Howell, 9 for 12, 77 yards, 1 touchdown, gave up 1 sack, which, it wasn't necessarily the offensive line's fault. Maybe they could have protected him a little bit longer, but he probably should have thrown it away. But it was a coverage sack. There wasn't really anyone open down the field. Besides that, I didn't really see any bad plays by him. If you guys want to, we're going to go ahead and look at the stats right here. He averaged 6.4 yards, I believe, an attempt, or a completion, not sure which stat that is, and then 119.1 pass rating. Again, the only bad play on the night was 1 sack. He didn't have a single throw that I thought had a chance to be picked off. He threw dots. Like, there was a few throws, one to Cole Turner, and one it might have been to Terry, where it's like, it had to be thrown on a rope, and if it wasn't, it was going to be deflected. So we had a couple of those where it's like really, really fast throw that he made, and they and it was completed to Cole Turner and Jahan on one of them, I think Curtis as well. So he had a really good day, and he also didn't force things. And if things were open, he would extend the play. Because most of the time the O-line was getting beat, especially Andrew Wiley. He would extend the play and then eventually throw it away. There was like 2 or 3 throwaways. He also had a nice throw to John Bates that got dropped, but it didn't matter because it would have gotten nullified anyways, because Andrew Wiley had a holding penalty. So he looked good though. I would give Sam Howell like an A-. Like maybe I'll give him an A- grade just because of the sack he took, but that wasn't even like fully his fault. Like, some sacks 100% are all on the quarterback. That wasn't 100% on him, but again, thought he played pretty well, and he definitely deserves his flowers for that game. And his interviews as well, just seems like such a good dude, and I'm rooting so much for him because again, he's so genuine, such a good dude. But yeah, Sam Howell, stock up, and shined. He just really looked good today, or yesterday. Next guy, this is more of an under the radar guy, but I think everyone realizes how good, well he played. He had at least 2 pass breakups and big hits on plays. Let's look at his stats. I think it ended up being 2 pass breakups, but he was everywhere, and he was, firmly with the second team. So I think he was debatably making the team before this game. After this game, I think he's firmly making the team. So I had 1 tackle, 2 kind of pass breakups where he just, 1 or 2 of them he actually got beat, but then he came in there. The closing speed was good, and just hit the guy really hard, hit stick him, and the guy dropped it. And if it would have been a little bit later, could have been a fumble on a couple of them. But again, Christian Holmes was really good. The coverage at times was questionable, but he made up for it. Again, if your coverage isn't great, okay, you got to make sure you either tackle the guy right away or force him to drop it, and that's what Christian Holmes did. And he also is I've mentioned this, I mentioned this last year. Christian Holmes was better than Percy Butler as a special teams player. And Percy Butler was supposed to be a special teams, god. So I think, Christian Holmes will probably make it alone just off his special teams, his, special team ability, and then combine that with his recent play. And he's also a draft pick. They probably want to keep him around and make him look a little bit better. I think he'll probably end up making the team now. And yeah, he looked really good out there. So, if you think about it, you got the 4 guys in Emmanuel Forbes, Benjamin St. Juste, Kendall Fuller, and then Quan Martin, who didn't have a great game yesterday, but will be making the team 100%. And he's going to bounce back. I truly believe it. And he's a corner/safety, but that's 4 right there. And then Danny Johnson, he had a good game, and they paid him a little bit more money, so I think he's going to make it. And then you got Christian Holmes. I think that's it. Rashad Wildgoose, I didn't think he played that well, and you can't keep 7 cornerbacks, so he's not going to make it. But they might keep, fewer linebackers, because Milo Eifler, Jahan Harris, they're okay, they're solid, but they're not going to get picked up probably by other teams, so you can risk cutting them and then bring him back on or bring him onto the practice squad. But Christian Holmes was definitely a stud. Next guy is Chris Rodriguez. I was expecting possibly for him to have a solid game, but he was an absolute stud out there. Let's see if I have it. 5 carries, 39 yards, and he wasn't working with an amazing offensive line. Let's see. I don't think he got any pass attempts thrown to him, but again, 5 for 39, averaged 8 yards a carry, had a 12-yard run, but most of them were they weren't all long runs. A lot of them were just 6-7 yard runs. He didn't have any. Maybe he had 1 or 2 short runs, maybe 1, but I can't really remember it. Most of them were really, really good runs. So, really solid runs, 6, 7, 8-yarders. I think almost all of them were. And then he had 1 12-yard run, and maybe he had 1 4 or 5-yard run. But he was looking good vision, and pretty strong. He was again had good vision, was able to move through the holes nicely, but he also ran a couple people over, not necessarily like a truck, but he got a couple extra yards just by bulldozing them. So this could be a hidden gem that the Commanders got in the late rounds. Running backs all the time end up being, you find good running backs in the end of the draft, like Isaiah Pacheco, James Robinson, Philip Lindsay, only a year or 2 that was good, but he was a lot of good running backs in the late part of the draft. So could be another one. Eric Bieniemy really, really liked him, and I'm sure he liked Isaiah Pacheco the year before. He's a running backs guy. He played running back at Colorado in the NFL as well, and he started coaching running backs in college and then in the NFL. So he definitely has an eye for them. He probably was the one who wanted Isaiah Pacheco, and then he balled out. So let's see what happens with Chris Rodriguez, but he looked good. He's 100% making this roster. He was going to make it anyways before, but this performance cements it. And hey, maybe he ends up being a bigger contributor than we think. Maybe if Chris Rodriguez is able to carry this over to the regular season. Obviously he's not going to carry 8 yards average 8 yards a carry, but he did average a crazy amount in college. But if he's able to play pretty well, maybe you can transition Gibson to just a receiving back and maybe only getting 2-3 carries a game, and then giving Chris Rodriguez 5, 6, 7 carries a game. That's probably something down the line, but something they possibly could do. I still would like to see Gibson get some carries, but what did he get yesterday? 2 for 7. He had 1 for 7, and the other one got stuffed. That wasn't his fault. So Gibson still can be a good running back in this league, but I think he can be an even better pass catcher. Okay, next guy on this list is Cole Turner. I was debating between him and a defender that I didn't end up putting on the list, but I'll talk about him later. Cole Turner was very, very solid in this game. He got 4 catches, 31 yards on 4 targets. You love to see that efficiency. Every pass that was thrown his way, he caught. There was one where it was debatable whether it was a fumble / interception or not, but I thought his knee was down. And again, most of these were just short 8, 9, 10-yard catches. There was one that was 13, but hey, really solid. Hands were good. Again, some of those were really, really fast throws by Howell, and he still came down with them. I think, this is a great opportunity for him. Logan Thomas doesn't really need this PT, so getting Cole Turner this, PT is good for him. Hopefully he can translate it to the regular season. We did not get to see him in the preseason last year because of injury, so it's a good opportunity for him, and I think he's taking advantage of it. And hopefully at some point in the regular season, he's able to maybe overtake Logan Thomas's tight end spot. Or maybe, I think a better goal would be, okay, at the end of the season, be like a 1-2 punch between Logan Thomas and Cole Turner. And then heading into the next year, like, okay, now we want Cole Turner to be the next guy. That would be, I think, a good goal for sure. But yeah, Cole Turner, I'm hoping for big things from him. Shout out Oregon again from Clackamas. But yeah, he's definitely one of the guys that improved his stock. And I think Curtis Hodges probably decreased a little bit. So don't think, he's probably going to make the team. He doesn't need to make the team. I mean, actually, I don't know. They could just keep 3. I don't think you need to keep 4 tight ends because Curtis Hodges isn't going to do anything for you. I don't think so. Logan Thomas, Cole Turner, and John Bates will make it. And then after that, maybe someone will. But I don't know. Shout out Cole Turner. Last guy. This is kind of an obvious one, but I just thought, we should talk about it. Jahan Dotson, man. Had the absolutely nasty route and gets a touchdown, bobbled it a little bit. At first, I thought maybe Howell overthrew it, but I mean, yeah, it was a little bit high, but it was a good throw. And Dotson didn't need to bobble it, but it is what it is. He caught it and kind of broke a tackle a little bit at the end. He was 2 for 30, 1 touchdown, 15 yards a catch. Had a 4-yard catch early on in the game. On the first possession, I believe, was 2 yards away from being the leading receiver. Byron Pringle also had a good game as well. But yeah, shout out Jahan Dotson. His interview with Logan Paulson was great as well. He was like, you're putting a safety on me. That's a mistake. Whatever. He got excited when he saw safety was against him. His confidence is at an all-time high. I love his aura. I think his confidence is much higher than it was last year, and it still probably was high. But he feels good with these other guys, with his teammates. He's comfortable with them, and he's bringing off good energy, and I think that will hopefully translate to the field, and I think, has a good chance to get over 1,000 yards for the Commanders this year. So those are actually, let me show the clip, and then we'll get into some other honorable mentions. Hopefully this doesn't get copyrighted. Don't think it will be, but if it does, I'll probably have to cut it out. But you see Jahan Dotson right here. Just runs an absolute sick route, and there you go. Absolutely, kills the defender right there. And then just breaks a tackle, soft tackling right there, able to make the play. So shout out Jahan Dotson right there for sure. And let's get into some honorable mentions. There was a lot of guys, man. 5 is too little, but 10 would be a lot. I mean, there was definitely 10 guys that improved their stock, but 10 would just be a lot to talk about in the video, extensively. But let's go over some guys that improved their stock. Running backs, not really. Byron Pringle definitely improved his stock. 1 for 32, had a really nice catch, and then was open, I believe, on that other, long pass that Brissett threw, but it was intercepted. Mitchell Tinsley was hoping for a little bit more out of these UDFAs, but he had 1 catch for 26 yards, and he was really the only UDFA who had a catch, because Mir Allen had a catch, but I think it was called back. Or I guess it wasn't, but I thought there was a penalty on that play. But yeah, Byron Pringle and Mitchell Tinsley improved their stock a little bit. I thought De'Ami Brown maybe improved his stock a tiny bit, like a little tiny bit. 1 catch, 14 yards, also drew a pass interference. Didn't play a ton, but he was solid. He definitely improved his stock a tiny bit. And then let's see. Casimir Allen as a punt returner probably improved his stock. He looks solid. Derek Forrest, I don't really know if he improved his stock, but he had a good, solid game. Had some nice tackles there. Was one of the only guys that was tackling. Jeremy Reeves was solid. And then Montez Sweat had a nice tackle for a loss, I believe. Percy Butler was the guy I was debating whether I would put him in or not. Had an interception, had some nice tackles. Was debating between him or Cole Turner. Just want to give Cole Turner some love. But I've been giving Percy Butler some love this whole offseason, saying that I think he's going to have a Derek Forrest type second-year leap, or has a chance to have that. And hey, it's looking like it's a chance for him to do that. So shout out Percy Butler. Danny Johnson also had a nice play. Anyone else that had a good game? Andre Jones had a nice play on defense where it wasn't a sack, but it was probably a tackle for loss. And then but he also kind of negated that by the bad play on special teams, which definitely doesn't help his case. But, yeah, he definitely, he has a chance to make this roster. it's going to be hard for him because there's a lot of good depth on this D-line, but hey, it is what it is. So I think we're going to wrap it up right there. Shout out all you guys for watching this. Again, hit that like button, check out BetUS and the Discord server, and I'll probably make a video tomorrow with guys who went stock down. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy, and peace.